Good afternoon, everyone. Mike Meilinger here. Today, I want to talk to you about strategies and tactics of a 60, 70-year-old warrior. I should have said 80-year-old warrior. So the biggest thing to talk about when you start thinking about strategies is I want to tell you a big difference. There's a difference between health span and lifespan. So lifespan is the number of years that you're going to live. Health span is the number of years spent in good health, active and free from chronic disease or disability. While the life expectancy for a male in the United States is 77, statistically, the last 10 years is spent in declining health. So your goal is not only to increase your lifespan, but also to improve the quality of your life. You want to put more life into your years. Second, I probably should give, that's the Life Force slogan. So anyway, I don't want to steal it and get sued by them. I am a customer. Each strategy and tactic we share will focus on maximizing your health span to support the highest quality of life possible. One really critical thing, and this is important for business as much as it's important for health, is you want to know the difference between goal, strategies, tactics, and measurements. Goals is the object of a person's ambition or effort, an aim or desired result. Strategy is the overall plan aligning with your health goals or business goals. Example, staying fit and active into later phases of life, right? Tactics are the specific actions, steps to support the overall strategy. Might be an example would be a perfect of a workout plan or something like that. And then measurement is really critical because you don't know if it's working, if the tactics are working, unless you have some measurements. The best example would be, let's take, for example, if you wanted to get your cholesterol down, okay? One of your strategies might be to take red yeast. One of your strategies would be to use nutritional supplements to lower your cholesterol. One of the tactics might be, hey, let's take red yeast rice. I mispronounced it. Red rice yeast. Hey, you get the drift. It's a supplement that you can take so it decreases your cholesterol. Well, when you measured it on a quarterly basis, you could see if it's working or not. Next slide. So the biggest thing that I see, and I advise a lot of people with a lot of disposable income, a lot of wealthy people, is that we tend, as we get older, we tend to drift towards what we call comfort, right? One of the longevity experts I listen to a lot is Gary Brecka, and he says aging is the aggressive pursuit of comfort. Therefore, anti-aging is the aggressive pursuit of discomfort. And in all honesty, in our society, most of the strategies that we're going to talk about do require either an investment of money or some type of discomfort or some type of strain on your time where you're not doing something easy. So the important thing to do as you get older is to really focus how much of your time, energy, or even finances that you're going to dedicate to things that challenge you physically or mentally. You know, because comfort is one of those things that is, everyone gets it. We all get it. Our society is the worst about, hey, once we get it, it becomes a birthright, right? And then we don't want to ever go back. Technology, we're very, spoiled with all the great technology we have, yet we complain about it all the time. So anyway, I always want to challenge you to come up with a budget or some type of plan to actually to finance your health. Next slide. So everyone that I talk to, there's 4 things that I say people don't want to get. And actually, they're the 4 horsemen of death, right? There's heart disease, right, which is the leading cause of death. There's cancer, which basically, there's not anyone who's listening to this podcast who doesn't know someone that's dying of cancer or died of cancer. There's the new trend is these neurodegenerative disease, which the biggest one is Alzheimer's, right? These are all age-related. Every single one of these diseases are age-related. And then there's metabolic disease, which includes diabetes, obesity. Both of these increase your mortality risk significantly. So we do want to avoid the four horsemen of chronic disease, and these are the 8 strategies to do so. One thing that Peter Attia talks about in his book, Lifespan, is he talks about the centurion decathlon. And he's talking about, what do you want to be able to do when you're 100 years old? Like, would you like to be able to hold your grandchild? Would you like to be able to hold your grandchild and walk upstairs? Would you like to be able to go down and tie your shoes and different things like that? So you always want to be doing different. You've got to, when you start focusing on your health span, you got to start thinking about, what are some things that we can do today that's going to help me not only 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, 15 years down the road, and 20 years down the road. Because what happens is the decay does not start to go like this. It actually sort of ends up like this if you're not doing some of the things that we're talking about today to stop it. So real quick, there's 8 strategies we're going to talk about of becoming a 60, 70, and 80-year-old warrior. The first strategy, everyone knows, is exercise regularly to reduce the risk of chronic disease. The second strategy is use your diet to decrease inflammation instead of increasing inflammation. We all know that the American diet is full of highly inflammatory foods. And if we could just stop destroying our bodies with some of these stuff that we're eating and instead put good stuff into our body through what we drink and what we eat, you can do a lot to improve your health and your quality of life. Third is optimize your sleep for recovery and mental health. Sleep is one of those important things that they say is one of the leading indicators of Alzheimer's is a lack of high quality sleep. Also, Brian Johnson, one of the longevity experts I listen to, is a guy who publishes a lot of his data online, famous or infamous, however you view him. He says, and I agree with him, if you want to improve your overall health and you can only do one strategy, you need to focus on improving the quality of sleep. The fourth strategy is focus on mental health for the motivation and resilience. This is a controversial one, but really mental health is so important and people just ignore it. And there are a lot of studies that show that the people who make it the longest have a very good outlook on life, they're very grateful, and they have good mental health. The fifth one, and this is something becoming really common now, is implement anti-inflammatory recovery practices. I mean, this is something that you can spend millions of dollars on, or you can do it for free. As simple as taking a cold shower every morning, very anti-inflammatory, or a hot bath, right? Those are some free things, and then you can take it to the sauna, the cryotherapy, which might be $100,000 if you buy your own cryotherapy machine. So that's another one of the strategies. 6, use supplements to support overall health. This is one where, again, you can spend a lot of money, you can get confused, you can end up like me, taking way too many supplements and not really knowing what you're trying to accomplish with those supplements. But it's important. There are supplements that have been proven to help with the long-term health. One study showed, this is controversial, but that most people who died from COVID did not have high vitamin D. And vitamin D was one of the things that low vitamin D levels was one of the correlations between death from COVID. Number 7, measure and track your key metrics for longevity. Now, this one is really important. I run a CPA firm. I am a business owner. If I only looked at my financial statements once a year, you guys would think I was a pretty bad business owner. I meet people all the time who only get one physical a year and only get one set of blood panels done every year. And those blood panels are not comprehensive. They're not looking at them and they're not saying, hey, what's going to happen if these panels don't change in 10 years or 15 years? And number 7 is the hardest one to do, is reduce exposure to environmental toxins. It's the hardest one to do 100%, but it's one of the easier things to do with the Pareto principle. If you focus on the air you breathe, and second, if you focus on the water you drink and the food you eat. Okay, let's talk about strategy 1. Exercise regularly to reduce the risk of chronic disease. If you had to pick one training, now it's been all over the board, but if you had to pick one training to do, statistically you should do strength training, because maintaining muscle is one of the more important things that studies are showing with metabolic health. Now, there are certain forms of weight training where you can actually kill 2 birds with 1 stone. You can actually get your strength training, which builds your muscle, and your cardiovascular in at the same time. I use a personal trainer, and trust me, we get a lot of cardio in at the same time we're doing strength training. Muscle is not just for physical performance, but it's a key determinant of long-term health. The loss of muscle mass as we age can lead to falls, fractures, and a loss of independence. By maintaining muscle mass through strength training, individuals can always protect themselves against the frailty and immobility that often comes with aging. Peter Tia also discusses muscle. It's a metabolic organ. Healthy muscle helps regulate glucose, insulin, which ties to his broader focus on maintaining metabolic health as a cornerstone of longevity. For heart and brain health, prioritize aerobic exercise. In an ideal world, you would do both. Flexibility and balance also are really important for preventing injuries and increasing mobility. Strategy number 2, use your diet to decrease inflammation instead of increasing inflammation. Chronic inflammation is linked to heart disease, diabetes, and other conditions. Anti-inflammatory diets, and you can pick any diet you want. You can be vegan, you can be carnivore, you can be whatever you want. But the one thing you're going to have to focus on is eating whole, unprocessed foods. Both plant-based and low-carb diets can be anti-inflammatory. Focus on mindful eating rather than restriction. And then also always include anti-inflammatory foods in your diet, like leafy greens, berries, fatty fish, food high in omega-3s, olive oil, spices like turmeric. Walnuts is another great anti-inflammatory food. What's great about diet is if you did a search that said, hey, if you use ChatGPT and you say, hey, ChatGPT, I need the best foods for an anti-inflammatory diet. And then you ask ChatGPT, hey, Chat, I need the best food for a diet that's healthy for my gut. And then you said, Chat, I need the best food that's healthy for my brain. What's amazing is the list is pretty much the same. So those foods that show up on the list are really good for all 3 things. The healthy gut, which has been proven more and more important, the healthy brain, and being anti-inflammatory. Strategy number 3, optimize sleep for recovery and mental health. This is something that I've struggled with. I still struggle with. My sleep has improved since I've done a lot of things to improve it, but still I have nights where I just don't get a good night's sleep. So quality sleep does reduce the risk of dementia. Sleep is also foundational for physical recovery and, again, your mental health. You should aim for a consistent routine of 7 to 8 hours per night. There's, one of the rules that I used to use was 10-3-2-1, which was 10 hours before bed, no caffeine, 3 hours before bed, no food, 2 hours before bed, no work, and 1 hour before bed, no screen time. But there's other things that you can do too. And actually, if I've had to increase my caffeine window, I've actually reduced my caffeine to where I only drink it in the morning. And so it's usually a 12 to 14 hour window of no caffeine. Some other things you can do is go to bed and wake up at the same time every day, even on weekends. Keep your room cool and very dark. Also, try to have a wind down routine. Strategy number 4, mental health for motivation and resilience. Mental health is one of the most important factors in the quality of life. Some key tactics for good mental health include gratitude, journaling, social connection, mindful exercises. Also, professional counseling is really critical. I urge people to use professional counseling, especially if they have any concerns about their mental health. Meditation and prayer have been statistically proven to be good for you. Self-care, taking care of yourself, actually working out and taking care of yourself and eating right does actually correlate to good mental health. And believe it or not, there's a lot of vitamin D is one of those vitamins that actually could prevent depression. So good nutrition and good supplementation can help you with your mental health. And finally, eliminate addictions and limit alcohol consumption. Strategy number 5, anti-inflammatory recovery practices. So there's recovery practices like hot and cold therapies to reduce inflammation and support recovery. Everyone's seen that ice plunges are becoming a big thing. I actually owned one for a while. It broke in 30 days. I had to send it back. I'm about to buy another one. But I could feel a big difference when I ice plunged. Saunas and steam baths are really good for one, anti-inflammation, but also they do relieve you of toxins. Red light therapy is one of the big things that they're saying is, and they promote cellular health and very anti-inflammatory. Hyperbolic oxygen therapy for recovery and healing. I think most of us who are sport fans know that a lot of professional athletes like LeBron James uses a hyperbolic oxygen chamber to recover during the season. And then, what you want to try to do is integrate at least one recovery practice to support the body's resilience. But you can always start small with a cold shower. You can get a membership. There's like recovery spas now where you can go do cryo, you can do red light. They have saunas and different things like that. So for $100 a month, you can get a membership in one of these things and get 8 of those services a month. Using supplements to support health. This is one of the things that I do recommend that you get some nutritional counseling. One of the big things I'm actually working on right now is I have my list of vitamins. I have what I'm taking, but then I also am trying to truly understand, okay, what is this supposed to do for me? How's it supposed to affect my health? And how do I know if it's working? And I'm really starting to reduce and simplify my vitamin regimen to the key supplements that I need to get my blood work where I want to. But some key supplements, I think everyone should supplement vitamin D. You should supplement omega-3 and magnesium. Those are the big 3 that everyone seems to not have enough of. There's also anti-aging supplements like CoQ10 is very good for the brain, and NAD Plus is a booster for cellular support. But there's also customized supplements based on individual needs and make adjustments as needed. That's why it's important. Try to truly understand. I can encourage you, if you're going to start a supplement routine, how do you know it's actually working? Vitamin D is something they measure in your blood work, so that's pretty easy. Strategy number 7, measure key metrics, health metrics for longevity. I wish I had it, but I could pull up all my blood measurements for the last 3 years. I get blood measurements probably 6 to 7 times a year. And I use a service called Life Force that actually sort of shows my measurements against each other by quarter, so I can look at them and see what's going on. But again, if you're a business owner, you look at your financial statements on a regular basis. I believe you do. If I was to ask you, how much cash you had in the bank and different statistics about your business, you would know those. The truth of the matter is, if I ask you about your health statistics, you probably don't. And most likely, if you're in the vast majority of people that I know, you're most likely only getting your blood work once a year. And that's a big mistake. Or if you're getting blood work quarterly, it's only measuring 3 or 4 measurements. It's not a comprehensive blood panel to tell you exactly how's your health trending. So the biggest thing you do want to measure is, always A1C, which is cholesterol, inflammatory markers like CRP. Your hormone levels are important. Another statistic you should track is body composition, right? I forget what it's called, but there's one of the things that basically measures just, I forget but it says if you're a certain height and you're a certain weight, you're either thin or you're overweight. But it doesn't really take into account muscle mass. I'm really not a big fan of that. I think you should get your body fat measured. I might be biased because technically I'm overweight if I use that one number, but when I get my body fat measured, I'm considered very lean for the population with about a 12% body fat at this time. I feel a little fat right now. I'm working on that. But anyway, advanced markers that you can get, again, this will cost extra, but I think you should always focus on the better. But the most important thing I want you to do is just monitor and do this on a regular basis so you can see how your exercise and your diet are helping or hurting you with your markers. And then strategy number 8, reduce environmental toxins. Now, environmental toxins are substances in the environment that can harm human health. They can cause cancer. They're everywhere. They can be found in the air, water, soil, and food. And they can cause a wide range of health problems, including cancer, respiratory problems, cardiovascular disease, brain disorders, and everything. But this is really, if you really got really concerned about this and try to eliminate all the environmental toxins in your life, you would have a hard time going to sleep at night because it's almost impossible. So what I always do is say, focus on the Pareto principle, which is the 20% of the stuff that you can do that can reduce 80% of the toxins. So the first thing I would do is always try to drink water that's filtered. Reverse osmosis is preferable. Out of a glass bottle. Drink water. If you drink a lot of water a day, you want to make sure you're drinking good water. The second thing, if you can, and you can do this, there's different ways. You can go super expensive, but you can go relatively cheap, is try to have some high quality air filters at your house or where you work to make sure, some of the toxins are being taken out of the air. The third thing is just think about the food you're putting in your mouth and try to put higher quality food. If you like, I loved barbecue and I loved meat that's been on the grill, but you don't want to eat a bunch of burnt substances where they combine, especially if it's sugar and fat combined or sugar and protein combined to create some type of cancerous substance. So you just want to limit your exposure to that stuff. Again, you're never going to limit it all, but the other 7 strategies help you eliminate some of this toxins, like exercise. When you sweat, your body gets rid of some toxins and different things like that. So I appreciate everyone coming to the seminar. Thank you so much and have a great day.